Good evening, everyone. Very, very warm welcome to the Startup Showcase number 10. Something little different and something that we want to make it as interactive as possible. So today we have two wonderful people, Sarita, who's from the Bloom Venture VC, and of course we have Ravi, who's from Waterbridge VC. And what I would like to ensure that we are doing today is to keep it interesting, engaging, and we're also while Ravi and Sarita will talk about their respective companies, we'll also be making it as interactive as possible so that we'll be choosing about 10 to 12 founders as well who would like to give a very strictly 30-second pitch to the both Ravi and to Sarita. And what we would love to hear from Ravi and Sarita is that what's happening in the ecosystem, about your respective portfolios, how can people get in touch with you, and a boost of confidence, a boost of community and ecosystem activities. That's what we want to do at TIE as well for the ecosystem. So without further ado, I'm giving it over to you, Sarita and Ravi, and Vinay will also be there to coordinate. And that's it, guys. Let's go for it. Sarita, Ravi, looking forward. Thank you.
Rita, why don't you go first?
No, Ravi, go ahead. Get started.
All right. Hey, hi, everyone. Real pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thanks, TIE Bangalore, for setting it up. So my name is Ravi Kaushik. I'm a partner at an early stage venture capital firm called Waterbridge Ventures. We're an early stage tech fund VC. We invest in the seed to Series A space, invest anywhere from 250K all the way to $1.5 million as the first check. And then we reserve 3 to 6x of that in terms of follow-on capital in our portfolio companies. We're a sector agnostic fund, but typically there are about 5 to 6 areas that we like: tech, fintech, the broader consumer internet, logistics and distribution, health tech, and enterprise/SaaS. Right? These are the 4 or 5 areas that we keenly invest in. A peculiar thing about us is that we are a tech-only investor, which means that for us, the role of tech needs to be very, very clear as companies build, scale, create moats, network effects, and then how is tech helping them sort of build bridges, not just against competition, but also in their own sort of scale. We launched Fund 1 in June of 2016. Fund 1, we invested in 16 companies in the C to Series A space. Some names that you might have heard of: Unacademy, Doubtnut, Chalo in the mobility space, then Ziploan in the fintech lending space, Magic Pin in consumer internet, Pocket Pills, which actually is an e-pharmacy. So 18 companies, 16 companies, almost 70% in terms of scale-up rate. And we're very excited about the Fund 1 portfolio. We're now investing out of our second fund. The thesis stays the same. We've so far done 8 investments out of the second fund. Some names, again, you might have heard: City Mall in the social commerce space, BitClass in EdTech, Iloilo, and about a few more. One thing about us is that we make a few investments and we go deep in those. What that really means is that we work very closely with our founders to add value, what we call as our alpha, to create returns, which means that we typically help founders in areas of formation of cap table, future venture capital, investor presentations, introductions, strategy, go-to-market, product roadmaps, key hires, corporate governance and compliance, right? So we effectively are happy to roll up our sleeves and work very closely with the founders, and that's where we think is where we create the real returns for our investors. That also is a great segue for us, and then for me to talk about Fast Forward, right? And Fast Forward is our dedicated seed funding program. We launched this in last year at the peak of the pandemic in April, May of last year. And the idea was sort of 2, 3, 4, right? One, there's a lot of noise around seed funding, whether it's accelerators, incubators, they have interesting structures, convertible structures. We really wanted to sort of declutter the space, clear the noise, and invest seed capital in startups. And the promise being that, one, we give you back an answer within 7 days, whether it's yes or a no, you will have an answer, and we will give as detailed a feedback as possible. The second is that we give you a term sheet within 10 days, money in the bank within 30 days. We also kept the funding simple. We said, listen, up to 500K for up to 20% of the company, right? We have two options, 250K and 500K, but the broad math is up to 500K for up to 20% in the company. It's a straightforward term sheet and shareholders agreement. We don't make it skewed in our favor. We are here to enable and empower the ecosystem, and Fast Forward is really to do that. We made 5 investments from Fast Forward in 2020. You can see, read about those on our website. We're now launching Fast Forward 2021. And the idea with 2021 is not just all the fundamentals I just spoke about, but also being here to sort of empower the ecosystem. So our companies that apply to Fast Forward and get accepted, apart from capital and of course, value add, the follow-on capital, we also help you get access to 10, 12 other VCs, angel groups, etc., to raise further capital. So effectively, with one pitch, you get access to 10 to 12 other VCs. You get up to 200K in cloud credits from a variety of very, very high quality sort of providers out there. The process stays the same: answer in 7 days, term sheet in 10 days, money in the bank in 30 days, completely digital, completely remote. Super excited to be launching our Fast Forward on 1st of April, which is 6 days from now. So looking forward to all the applications. And one final thought before I pause is that companies that get accepted in Fast Forward aren't really second cousins of the other portfolio companies of WaterBridge. It's the same value add, same partner, bandwidth and feedback, and same follow-on capital. It's just a very dedicated seed funding program. Thank you. I'll pause and let Sarita have a chat.
Hey, thanks, Ravi. So just a quick one for the audience here. Ravi and I both went to the same school in US, which is Thunderbird. So we just managed to connect a couple years back, and it has a strong alumni group. So yeah, some quick stuff there. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Vinay, and thank you, Vijeta. It's always been a pleasure working with Ty. And a little about me: I come from an entrepreneur family, grew up in a small town, and then went to the US, worked in corporate world for many years, and I always felt this calling. One is calling to come back to India, and the second calling was to do something more with life, not just work in corporate world. And I got the opportunity with Indian Angel Network. So I worked about 4 years there, heading their South India division. Learned a lot with feet on street, worked with incubators, accelerators, angels, and early stage founders. Worked very closely with Ty, NASSCOM, and saw the impact they created, right? Sometimes some angels just said, like, even spending, I'm happy to spend that 1 hour with the founder to ensure that he doesn't spend the next 5 years wasting his time and life, right? So even that time that people who are experienced founders can spend with early stage founders can make a huge difference. So I saw the impact there, and it was a wonderful journey. I've it's not recently, but about a year back, joined Bloom Ventures. A little about Bloom. Bloom is an early stage fund. We're 10 years old now, so launched in 2010. In fact, this week happens to be Bloom Day 10 celebration. So we've been doing a whole lot of events on Clubhouse, and for our guests, you're all welcome to join in as well in our celebration. So a little about Bloom. We're an early stage fund. We've done more than 150 investments. We're on our third fund now, which is a 100 million plus fund. In fact, close to the fag end of the third fund. Philosophy, again, we're sector agnostic. We believe, invest in strong founders. We invest in tech-enabled, mostly tech-led startups led by founders who are obsessed with solving hard problems, uniquely India in nature. We love that. We also have a B2B arm where we invest more, which is called Arca Ventures, where there we invest smaller checks that's in combination with Emergent and BGV. Smaller checks in companies which are looking to address a global market, but have a team primarily in India. So our vision is to be leading a platform that sources, funds, nurtures, and creates value for India's brightest young startups. And from a fund perspective, we do have a common investment. Unacademy is one that both WaterBridge and Bloom share. Of course, we have a lot of B2C and B2B. So I would say a mix is we've invested probably 60% in B2C and 40% B2B. We don't do consumer brands. We do mostly consumer tech startups. And I would love to make this a more interactive session. Would love to hear more about what you would, little more about what the startups here are doing. Also, we recently launched a program called the Bloom Founders Fund. In fact, I spearhead that program at Bloom. The idea behind the program was twofold, I would say. So Bloom doesn't do what it did 10 years ago, right? The whole landscape ecosystem has evolved. There's a spurt of activity in the very early stage, very exciting companies coming out. And think about it, we've funded more than 150 companies. So a lot of our founders are restarting, a lot of our founders, CXOs are coming back, and we have a strong network of relationships that we have built. Now, when a lot of these relationships came to us, we could only evaluate it from our core fund perspective, which was the typical $1.5 million kind of checks. And we could do just 7-8 checks a year. So we said, what about all these relationships? Sometimes they don't fit in because it's early. Sometimes they don't fit in because it's very late stage. So we said we should, and some of our founders would tell us that we want Bloom in. Even if you write a small check, we're happy to take it, but we want to keep this relationship with Bloom. So that's how it all started. We said we should have some program, some initiative where we can write a small check. So this program has like 2 to 3 tracks, and we're still in the early stage. But given where we are at, the first track is, it is for our own relationships, our founders, ex-founders, our CXOs, and people who are very strongly connected to Bloom in the last 10 years. The second track would be founders who are mentored by our existing founders. So I'll give you some examples. Like we invested in Monroe, and Monroe came to us because Manish Taneja, who's founder of Purple, he's been mentoring them, and he invested in them and referred them to us. So we do look for strong connects in the Bloom Founders Fund program. Very small checks. We do 50K to 100K kind of checks. We don't specifically ask for, we don't negotiate on terms of valuation and stuff. If we like the founder and we believe in the concept, we're happy to invest, but very, very few checks. So, and more, like I said, more in our circle of relationships across the ecosystem. So yeah, that's Bloom and Bloom Founders Fund. Happy to take questions on both.
Thank you so much, Ravi and Sarita. And I think, a lot of people are actually putting out your various etc. They're talking about, that's really nice. Okay. And one of the questions that is trivia question that Vinay has put out, if someone can answer this, which is the common company investment between Waterbridge Ventures and Bloom Ventures? And Ravi, Sarita, you can't answer that question. You are not allowed. Just in case. Okay.
No, but I think Sarita mentioned, right? I think Unacademy is...
Unacademy, yeah. Kanchan has replied back, and Vega also has, oh, the ladies are fast. They're really good, yeah. So we had Vega and Kanchan has replied. Thank you so much. So Vinay, you could also come on camera. Okay, it's now 4:15. So what I thought is, we just realized that there are almost 80 people in the audience. Okay. So I know that there are quite a few founders here. So Vinay, like in terms of we can continue the Q&A. And is there any presentation or anything that you guys want to put out, Ravi or Sarita, any slide or something, or you guys want to keep it interactive? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think let's keep it interactive, right? Happy to engage with the audience. Probably far more sort of more fun.
All right, great.
Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah, please. Okay, one question would be that, on behalf of the audience, how comfortable are you guys with people sending you a LinkedIn request or email? What is it that you like? And if you are whatever you're comfortable, just put it on the Zoom chat as well, and you can answer it as well.
Yeah, sure. Look, I'm happy to go first, right? I think, look, happy to connect with founders, whether it's LinkedIn, with email. I think what's important is that the highest probability of success in terms of getting us to look at your investment proposition is to try and get a warm introduction from somebody who is in the ecosystem, somebody who knows us, and you get an introduction. Because sending a LinkedIn request is probably one of the easiest things to do. Dropping in cold email is also one of the easiest things to do. And by warm introduction, 2 things happen. One is that obviously it's someone that we know, and hence mentally, I make a priority of looking at that if I look at a cold email. That's one. And the second one is to, it also shows the resourcefulness of the founder's ability to network with VCs, to be able to find a way to get introduced himself or herself, put them in front of VCs, which also is a big factor of success for a lot of founders. So it shows a lot of that. So I think it's important to try and get yourself introduced as opposed to a cold LinkedIn or a cold email.
So I'll take that question as well. I think, Vijeta, what happens is, and to some of the founders, our LinkedIn sometimes has so many messages. Like when you log in, it's just like hundreds of messages. So your message may just get lost. So a lot of times what I do is I say, better way is to go to the company's website and click on that pitch form and actually apply there. We do a very good diligence on, filtering, seeing what works for us, what doesn't. And then we're happy to, if it's of interest, so we will definitely take it forward. So every week we have an analyst who just goes through the pitch form and looks at all the interesting startups and takes it to our analyst associates. So from that angle, we do look at it. But like Ravi said, always helps to have a warm referral, because if nothing, you will at least get a conversation and you will get some feedback on your venture. Whereas if you come through a LinkedIn or your venture or your deck will get evaluated, but you may not get that time with any of us that you're looking for. So with a warm referral, what you get is at least a time slot where you get feedback on your startup. That kind of helps.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarita and Ravi. Ravi, there's a quick question that has come in about, does WaterBridge invest in consumer goods startup?
Yeah, I think like Bloom, because we're a very tech-focused fund, we need to see a very high role of tech in that business. So typically, so far, we have stayed away from D2C startups because we still think that there isn't enough tech. But look, all of these things can become interesting. So happy to take a look. I don't think it's out there, but my email is ravi@waterbridge.vc. So folks, feel free to give Tide Bangalore as a reference and drop me an email if you think there is something that you want us to take a look at. Again, ravi@waterbridge.vc.
Perfect. Thank you. And can I also give a quick shout out that, Anjali, who's also a charter member at TIE, and she's from WaterBridge as well. She has been super supportive.
Anjali is here.
Anjali is here. So hi, we can say hello to her as well. And she's very supportive, and there's a lot of work that she's also helping us with the TIE Women Entrepreneur Program. And Sarita, we'll also talk to you about that. Okay. And I also want to give a shout out to a couple of your colleagues, Sarita, who are my also good friends. Arpit is there. Deepika is there, Jitesh is there, so many nice people. And of course, Sanjay, Karthik are so warm towards the community, and your clubhouse sessions and the blogs that you put out, the community activities that you guys put out is sensational. So thank you for that. It's so much that you're doing for the ecosystem and community, Ravi and Sarita, that also matters a lot.
I'm glad, Vijeta, we're all working together. And I think the common goal is to help founders as much as possible. So.
Fantastic. Yeah, great. Okay, now Vinay, how should we take this forward? Because I see there are quite a few startups and founders. A lot of people will be wanting to give their 30-second elevator pitch. Quite a few of friends over here, so I don't want to be biased, but how do you think we should do this?
So we have Harish who has said he'd like to pitch. So what we'll do is whoever raises their hand, we will schedule them, we'll unmute them and get them to present in 30 seconds each.
Okay, great. Because, yeah, I see Jagat is also here. I see that quite a few, I know a lot of few founders are here. So can we start doing that? One is the one someone is asking about, where is the raise hand? There is, okay, if you go to reaction, or how do you want to let them know that they have to ping you directly, Vinay?
They can ping us directly as well.
Okay, ping Vinay directly, okay? Yeah. So who would like to start first? Vinay, you had the first one coming in, right?
So we have Harish Neotia. So Harish, I'm just going to make you the co-host and you can start presenting yourself.
30 seconds.
Harish, just before you start, I know 30 seconds is really hard. So try and focus on the greatest achievements of yours because I think that's where you'll catch attention, right? It's only answer, yeah, 30 seconds.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am Harish Nevatia, founder of ePanipuri Cart. a food tech startup based at Ranchi, incubated at IIT Kanpur. We have developed an automatic dispensing machine, IoT enabled with remote access for touchless operating by mobile app. Currently, we have installed 5 machines in 4 locations and we have 10 orders in hand. Looking for your mentorship and support ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. So he did it in 30 seconds. So thank you, Harish, and all the very best. Harish, what you should be doing is please do share your LinkedIn profile and everything like that on the chat as well. And we can always compile this information and maybe share it with Sarita and Ravi also. Okay.
Sure. We have
thank you, Harish.
Hand raised. So we'll start with Sukhdev Singh.
Thank you.
Vinay, do you want to pause and just give feedback on this quickly? Will that help you? Because then we get context, right?
We'll do that. Please. Yeah, we'll do feedback. Yeah.
Maybe we can just pause. So Harish, awesome. You did a very quick job of describing what you do, and awesome. I love Pani Puri, so very exciting. Just to give all of you here a little context, I think it's worth looking and evaluating what kind of business you are and what kind of funding is required. Not everybody needs VC funding. Not everybody should be doing equity-based funding. If you are a profitable business and if you're doing well, you're making profits, and you can then take a bank loan and expand. You don't need to take equity. So equity is considered very expensive financing in some ways. And when do you take equity? You take equity only when you know that you need a long time, you need a runway, you need to build you will not be making profits for a long time. And it's mostly in innovation, an idea which is going to take a little more time for you to break even and make profitable. That's when banks will not give you a loan. So that's when you say, okay, I will use VC money or I will raise venture capital to grow. So just a basic 101 lesson for everybody here. How do VCs evaluate? Couple of things. Number one is founder. Who's the founder? What is the reason? How is he qualified to solve this problem versus everybody else? The second is how large is the market that he's solving? How big is this market? Is it large enough? Can he grow to $100 million at least, right? And then we look at how differentiated is his product or his or her product. So if you created something, how easy it is for somebody else to copy. What is your moat? What is your differentiation? Why can't somebody else come and do exactly the same thing? And then what is your differentiation? So that's another thing. So founder, how large is the market? How differentiated is your solution? And then the competitive landscape, especially how many players are there? Are you an early bird? Are you a late bird? So all of these we consider before we evaluate a startup. And how scalable is the startup? You may be the best venture, you may be profitable, you may be doing extremely well, and a VC will say no, and you'll say, oh my God, it's such a good startup. Why aren't they saying? Because a VC is looking for startups which can scale very, very quickly and very, very fast. So it should be should not be too operation and execution intensive. It should be scalable mostly. That's why Ravi and I were saying tech. Of course, there are lots of good VC funds who are even doing consumer brands, and that's big. But these are 4 or 5 pillars that you should always check mark or tick mark before you go in before you approach any investor in the VC space.
Thank you so much, Sarita.
Just to close the loop here, Harish, I think from your business, if it's profitable and you can easily use a bank loan or something like that or debt and expand instead of taking equity.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Just received Nidhi's fund also, and we are also receiving seed from IIT Kanpur. So we have a good runway for 12 to 18 months right now, and we will be EBITDA positive by the end of this year.
Awesome.
And we are in patent process. We are in process of patenting also.
Awesome. Congrats.
So this is amazing, Harish. He talked about patents. He's got grants. He's got runaway. This is like music to the ears of so many founders when that happens, isn't it? That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Harish, and thank you, Sarita. Ravi, would you like to add something?
Thank you, sir.
Should we move to the next person? Yeah. Okay,
Maybe I'll pick up the next one who pitches, right?
Okay, perfect.
So Sukhdev, you can unmute yourself and present yourself.
Yeah, hi. So thanks for giving me this opportunity to be talking about my startup. So I'll just take 30 seconds and start now. We are a consumer goods brand, basically a D2C brand. Our brand name is Raw Hood, and we are selling completely raw and natural instant food. So by that, I mean that all our products are 100% natural. We are not adding anything at all, not even oil. Forget about sugar and any other preservative. And they are completely raw. We're not cooking it. But still, you can consume it as it is. And it is instant. For example, the products which we have are like pasta sauces and gravy mixes and stuff like that. So a consumer just needs to add water into these mixes and he gets the ready gravy and sauce. So that's the thing about us. We have other things also, like we are vegan and gluten free and those kind of things, travel friendly. We started in November only this year, 2020. And so it's a very, very early stage startup as of now. And so basically we have a $1 trillion plus market, so to say, at an international level. And we expect a large part of our sales to be coming from international markets, so US and other markets. So and other things, we are very high on gross margin. So that way our unit economics is good. Rest the details can be shared whenever it is required. And I think, and then we are consumer goods. So I don't know how much you will be interested in on this call.
Sudeep, yeah, thanks so much. Maybe I think it's fair that at least we should give an explanation as to why we don't do D2C brands. But I'll also tell you that it's not the end of the world. Look, the reason we don't do D2C brands is because, one, a lot of the manufacturing is all offline, right? There is very little or no role of tech. Today, most of the tech is around demand aggregation, and then of course some optimization on funnels and things like that. And hence, tech is not necessarily the fundamental enabler and the sort of lever for scale. Of course, it has a role to play, especially on the demand side, but that's the reason why we don't invest in D2C brands. The second reason is that typically D2C brands don't have any IPs around them to protect them, whether it's a hardware or let's say something like a food packaging. It's a lot to do with the brand name that they build, which obviously takes time and of course in a lot of cases, a lot of capital. Right. So these are the two reasons why we don't invest in D2C brands. But specifically to you, Sudeep, I think you're in a very interesting space. There is obviously a lot of sort of awareness around natural food, high quality food, vegan food, etc. So I think that definitely you have those tailwinds powering your growth and journey. What I would also suggest and for you to think about is that while I think Sarita also mentioned that they don't do consumer brands, but what you can, and we don't do it, but I think there are lots of angel groups, angel investments, and VC funds who are very keen on consumer brands, especially around the whole sort of health and wellness theme that you are playing on. So I think you should definitely reach out to them. What I personally like also about some of these businesses, the gross margins are high, so you actually start generating cash from day one, which means that you actually don't need a lot of capital to scale. With little capital, because you generate cash from day one, can start to scale very rapidly. I think you should take advantage of that as a sector that you are playing in. Yeah, hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Ravi.
I mean, that feedback is, thank you so much, Ravi. Yeah. Just to add one more thing, I think, which I got missed, that nobody else is doing something like this in the world. So we are pretty much world's first on this thing. But yeah, thanks, Ravi. Thanks for the feedback.
Great, so great. All the best. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Ravi.
Thank you so much. Vinay, who's next? I think we have 10 more people. So let's.
We have Vanita Prasad. Vanita, you're the co-host. You can unmute yourself. Vanita, are you there? If not, we'll go to Raghava. So Raghava, we'll just make you the co-host. Yeah, Raghava.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So my company is AI company. So I just have one slide, which I want to take 30 seconds off. And what we do is we automate visual processes in manufacturing using computer vision and AI. And I have a very short video that actually explains. So a lot of manufacturing happens with manual inspection, and there are things being assembled. And here you see our camera, for instance, taking pictures of things being assembled. And we have a no-code deep learning annotation interface, which is on the cloud, which you can quickly train a deep learning model and then deploy that on the edge at the manufacturing line. So what we are trying to do is basically build a platform that allows you to automate pretty much or replace pretty much a human assembly inspector on the line, and then interface that to machines to do automated closed loop quality control system. So in this case, you can see that something which is faulty is not being boxed, right? So that's essentially what we are. We've been completely bootstrapped, and we've built this over the last 4 years, and we've got about 90 plus deployments, and we're looking to scale internationally as well as mostly in APAC as well as the US. And we've got a team of about 25 software engineers out of Bangalore.
That's awesome to see, Raghava. I think very, very interesting what the space you're in. And it's great to hear that you're still bootstrapped. This is exactly the kind of stuff that VCs love, honestly, because it's easily scalable. It's a global solution. Of course, I'm not very familiar with how large, whether you have any patents and stuff. It was tough to cover in a minute, but would love to hear more. So for people in the audience, definitely what Raghava is doing, when you look at it from a 1 minute perspective, his product is up and running. He has customers, he has product validation, so product market fit is there. Only thing now we need to check on a couple of things is whether there is a patent here, whether there are patents, and if not, what is the competitive landscape and how large is this market, right? Once we evaluate that, if this is interesting, a lot of people would be interested in knowing more about how we can. And the VC's role is then to help you from where you are today to scale it and take it to the next level, right? Get you, connect you to customers, connect you to different countries, customers across and stuff like that. So yeah, Raghava, I think you're on the right track. I'm sure, looks like you're a seasoned guy. You've pretty much taken this company to this extent without any funding. That's awesome. And if you're ever looking for funding, we'll all be happy to evaluate. I can put in my email here and happy to hear from you.
Thank you.
Yes, we are. Thank you for the feedback, and looking forward to
Raghava, I would encourage you to apply to Fast Forward as well, Raghava. Whenever you get a chance, do check out Fast Forward. I think it was on the link there. I would encourage you to apply it. Again, like she said, it could be a right fit from an early stage perspective.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you for these kind words of encouragement as well, Sarita and Ravi. Vinay, next one.
Yeah, actually, it's a very interesting format because I've had startups pitch to me, but this is the first time where the pitching, we're giving them live feedback, which is, I think, phenomenal learning for everyone else as well.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the brainchild of Vinay and Shivi and all the team. So we hope to do it well. We want to get better at it, and happy that you guys are liking it also. Okay, thank you.
It's an interesting model. It's like almost like Ravi and I sitting in a pitch. Right, so very good.
Yeah, that's very nice.
We have Vivek next, Vivek Page.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vivek Page, and I am founder and proprietor of Autobikes. We are into manufacturing of electric bicycles. So, jumping on straight to. So our journey is completely bootstrapped. We do not have any investors on board as of now. We have collaborated with Amazon way back in June 2020, and since then we have sales on Amazon as well. We have some international inquiries for dealerships, and we are planning to expand in the upcoming few years. We are also looking forward to get into two-wheeler segment. And I myself, I am an electrical engineer, so the design and the detailing is done by me. And yeah, so I have this presentation ready for the investment purpose. So I'd like to share it for whomsoever it may concern. I'm ready to answer any kind of questions or queries that may arise. Thank you so much.
Vivek, thanks for pitching. Look, very interesting. I think you have a very interesting sort of product, and obviously, I think you seem to be doing well in terms of sales. I think the key, again, from a VC perspective, my 2-3 questions is, bicycle market is fairly crowded, very large incumbents with very strong distribution, and hence keen to see what is the sort of unique value prop, brand retention, repeats, IPs, is there any that you might have built around the core hardware? And also when you mentioned you are going to two-wheeler, electric two-wheelers as well, also would also encourage you to think hard about why diversify into another category, again, which has very large, well-funded folks, crowded space, lots of folks trying very different things with two-wheelers. Again, it's a very brand and distribution play, with which being the key. So we'll think through that, and also would think through as to what kind of capital you need, and is it a VC capital, or can you take other kinds of capital to grow your business? Would encourage you to think about that as well. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your feedback.
So we have Vanita Prasad next. She just mentioned she would like to go next. She missed out. Vanita,
hello?
Are you?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Vanita Prasad. Yeah. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I am an environment biotechnologist, and I have developed a bioconsortia, a robust consortia, to treat water and wastewater along with energy and nutrient recovery. So the venture has been started in 2017. I am a BIRAC supported and DIPP startup. So we have last year we have done a revenue of 25 lakhs, and this time till third quarter, we have crossed that figure. Till now, we could able to do a piloting for this production of these microbial cultures. So it has been validated at customer sites. We had supported a Noida municipality biogas plant, as well as 1 or 2 effluent treatment plants. So that is where we stand now. So that's what I can tell you. And we have been supported and funded by seed fundings at this point of time. And we got a lot award for low cost technology for treatment of wastewater. We are Swachh Bharat Grand Challenge winners. And there are various other awards which the technology could able to get. So I'm looking forward to go to a commercial scale production, for which I am looking for funding at this point of time.
Hi, Vanita. First of all, a big shout out to women founders. I think +1 right there, because there's so few women founders.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So quick 2-minute feedback. I think it's great that you got a grant. So this, for founders here, if you're in a tech space, it's great to first use a grant to come up with a basic minimal viable product, and then test it out, make sure that it's working, if things are looking good. So big shout out to BIRAC and stuff, because they've really helped a lot of good technology to at least be in a position to go to market. And now you're in a situation where I know, Vanita, you've already raised some small grants, you have some money, you have some validation. Now you're looking to scale. So from a VC perspective, I can tell you this space is very hot. We are looking for solutions which are pro-environment. This is the future, right? And VC is always looking at what's the future and looking to invest in that. So the space is hot. We as Bloom have in our portfolio company, Carbon Clean Solutions. You can see they're doing extremely well. They've raised multiple rounds of funding. From your perspective, what we look for is 2 things. One is, you are the tech person, right? You are the scientist, you're the biotech person, but you need, I'm not sure if you have a co-founder. What we look for is there another person?
Just a minute, ma'am. We are 3 co-founders. One is Mr. Rajneesh, and one is Mr. Bhavik. Mr. Bhavik is an accounts person, finance person. He's the CFO, and CEO is Rajneesh, who has 20 years of experience in business management. So he's an MBA.
Awesome. So typically, I'm just shouting out here, learning so everybody can take notes, is Single founder, it's not impossible. There are great single founder stories, but by and large, it's very hard. The journey of a founder is a very, very tough journey. It always helps to have a co-founder with complementary skills. So in Vanita's case, while she takes care of all things science, she has a co-founder who takes care of all the business aspect of things, which really helps. Then we look for somebody and we question, does this person have the fire in the belly to take it to the next level, to scale it? And of course, we will evaluate whether the solution, it has a USP. If somebody else is doing the same thing, what is unique about Vanita's solution that is easily, sorry, give me a second. Yeah, that is, that's their differentiator. So if there's a strong USP and it's scalable and the team is ready for it, they will have enough people knocking on their doors, willing to fund them. So Vanita, happy to, again, I'm sure Ravi will also agree with me, but be happy to evaluate and see where you're at and give you some more detailed feedback.
Sure, ma'am. I will share my LinkedIn profile, company's LinkedIn profile with the group.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Right. So next we have, I see Ranjit Kumar, right? Ranjit, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Ranjit. I worked with Zoho for nearly 15 years. After that, I bootstrapped BabyWise Networks, which is an IoT startup. For the past 4 years, we are doing this, and we have created 4+ developer tools. It's a kind of IoT frameworks that can help people build their complete solutions for any verticals. It can be healthcare or logistics or manufacturing or anything. We have acquired around 30+ customers across the globe in multiple verticals. And we are working on Industry 4.0 specific complete solution from data acquisition to data analysis. And we are working with one enterprise customer from Bangalore. And we are looking for raising a fund to scale up our Industry 4.0 operation. Thank you.
Thanks, Ranjit, for pitching. Look, I think it's obviously interesting what you're doing. And I think, as you know, DevOps and DevTools is quite hot as a segment with several successes and unicorns out of India, Postman being one. So it looks interesting. Happy to take a look at it. I think your stage also seems to be a fit, so I'd encourage you to apply to Fast Forward, the program that we're launching in less than a week. And definitely one of us will come back to you on the next steps. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. I'll surely put my details on the Fast Forward.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So just for the audience, given that Ranjit has experience in Zoho, he knows a lot of times when the founder has spent X number of years solving and he can see a gap, that is a big one for us because we know that he's already been there, done that. He's seen a gap and now he's solving for that gap and he's been bootstrapped. So Ranjit for sure will get at least access to talk to a couple of investors and get feedback on whether his product is, and then of course, VC will also talk to a few people in the industry to see if there are other solutions like that.
Yeah, and just to add, I think in the same vein, folks like Ranjit who have worked at sort of some of the leading edge startups or second-time founders tend to have an edge because they have gone through the journey before and hence they know what it's like to start, build up, raise capital. Even second-time founders also tend to have quite a bit of an edge when it comes to being able to raise capital.
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Sarita, for your feedbacks. I'll surely post it across. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have Jagat now. I don't see Vijay Chowdhury. So Jagat.
Jagat and Kanchan.
Jagat, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thanks, Vijeta, Thai team. Hi, Sarita and Ravi. Just want to quickly share my screen for a couple of slides. Just stop one. Yeah, my screen is visible. So what we do, Bitphone is the virtual office for remote sales and marketing. It's a pre-integrated platform with all the features you need to do remote work. The idea really is to bring together remote sales, marketing, and support. That's the external communications, along with remote collaborations, internal communications, into one elegant platform. That's really what we do with Bitphone.me. I want to keep this short, 30 seconds, I think is up. Happy to discuss a lot more. So we're At NASSCOM 10,000 Startups, we have raised our seed round from people from Harvard, Google, KPMG, etc. We're looking at the growth path now, so happy to talk to people interested.
Okay, that was very short and crisp.
Yeah, Jagat, I think that's interesting. I'm assuming this is in the SaaS space. SaaS is definitely something which is really, really growing out of India. I think most people here are aware that, with the successes like Freshworks and Zoho and a lot of success stories coming out of India and the most recent Postman and stuff, clearly this is a space which all VCs are looking at and evaluating very closely. Would love to hear more, would love to evaluate to see what is the USP here and how. I think a good time to go to a VC is when you are sure you have the product market fit or you're close to product market fit and then you're ready to scale. But given SaaS is of great interest to a lot of us, we'll be happy to evaluate even at a slightly earlier stage, even if there's no product market fit. Typically, a good time is when you're at 100K ARR is a good time. But happy to talk, would love to hear more.
Yeah, just to add, Jagat, thanks for that. Look, employee productivity is obviously massively useful at this point. Massive tailwinds, not just in India, across the globe. Looks like you have an interesting product. Happy to take a look. If FastForward is the right fit for you, then go for it. Otherwise, you have my email ID. Drop me a line. Whatever you think is the best fit for you. All the best.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Jagat. Thank you, Sarita Ravi.
So we have Kanchan Trivedi next, who's now the co-host. Kanchan?
Yeah. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Vijeta, Tai Bangalore, Sarita, as well as Ravi. So I am Kanchan Trivedi, the founder of Loan Genie. So I'm an ex-Stanford alumna, also an ex-flight lieutenant with some 16 years of work experience. And I got motivated to start with Loan Genie because I was facing issues while trying to take a loan in India. And that motivated me to start with Loan Genie. So ever since I have given loans and got them back, I'm still bootstrapped. I'm looking at basically funds to hire a team, also develop a product which is at a prototype stage right now. And this is a $28 billion market by 2025, estimated to go up to $35 billion. And very excited about this opportunity. And we intend to use artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain into our solution. So as to have financial inclusion reach across to millions of Indians. So that has been my journey. So I'm looking to connect with people for network, for also support in terms of advice, mentorship. So those are the things for which I would want to associate with people for funding. Thank you.
Hi, Kanchan, thanks. Thank you for pitching. Look, I think obviously it's a very large opportunity and obviously very interesting. Now, what I also want to call out here is, like some of the other examples, we have a lot of very large incumbents, especially both online, offline DSAs, who do sort of loan aggregation connections on a variety of stages, right? Some of them give real rates, some of them give non-real rates. So there is a lot of I would say noise in this space, to be honest. So right. I think what would be keen is for you to very clearly differentiate how you would be different from the rest. And then that's one. The second is that why should you be able to win? Because there are millions of dollars of marketing spend being done with the big players as CAC. So then how would you sort of be able to manage that? I think you're also the right state. So the risk of repeating myself, encourage you to apply to FastForward. I think one of us will get back to you for sure. Thank you.
Sure, Ravi. Yeah. So the in terms of differentiation, I'm looking at bringing convenience to my customer, which is basically young millennial, and they're a very early stage in their career. So I bring convenience to them, customer success basically, not even delight, and in whatever job they need to do. And so that would be the second. And the third one is we are also looking at, we are a socially responsible startup. We are looking at giving or donating 5% of our fees to Akshay Patra. So right from the start, we want to be, be doing that. So that is how we want to differentiate ourselves from the rest.
No, look, sounds good. Looks interesting. Happy to read more when you send across your application.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. All the best. Bye.
Thank you.
We have Lagan Saluja next.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, this is Lagan Saluja. 1 second. Hi, this is Lagan Saluja, founder of Decon. My wife is a co-founder of Decon. We started this company in June 2019. I have 19 years of work experience, and before starting Decon, myself and my wife, we both have 7+ years of experience in hospitality industry. Now come to Decon. It is a bootstrap B2B e-commerce marketplace where manufacturers and sellers sell their goods to retailers and other business entities. And with our initial experience in hospitality industry, we started selling hospitality goods like hotelware, restaurant, event catering, wedding decorations, electronics, lighting, disposable. And recently we started industrial safety goods. The company provides negotiate best prices, logistics support, India and other Asian countries, secure payments, EMI loan facilities, technical and customer supports to all manufacturers and retailers. Soon we do have plans to add other business-to-business categories like agricultural farming, industrial hardware, plumbing, office stationery, sports fitness, and beauty and salon products. Why we started this company, as we have 7 years experience in hospitality industry. Much of the B2B business market in India is remain unorganized. Still, merchants have to travel to other cities or to a manufacturing unit to purchase of goods. They still struggle to find the best prices of the goods. The main idea is to empower retailers, wholesalers, traders, and manufacturers using technology as a source and connect to a single web and app platforms. We are currently a team of 12 members, having 36,500 customers, 18,000 plus product, and our last 12 months revenue was 1.2 crores. Thank you.
Hey, Lagan. I think very good traction. I'm kind of definitely surprised. I'm hoping you have a co-founder who's a tech co-founder, because in this, the key, from what you said, it's a marketplace. And in a marketplace, the key is you have to ensure that both the supply side and the demand side, both you have to take care of, right? And with that, if you have good tech, which is backed by good tech, that really helps.
Yes.
There is, from a VC perspective, this space is a little tough because there has to be a networking effect, meaning that it's not enough if your product is great, but you need for people to adopt, and it has to go viral. The more people who adopt, the more people start using it. That's when your product really gains some momentum and, little more. Also, another challenge in the space is that you do have large players like Udaan. I know they don't look at manufacturing. So the positive for you is that you picked a specific vertical and you're going after that vertical. So that's the positive. But the concern could be here is that what if very, very large funded companies decide to go after this vertical as well? Then it would be very, very hard for you to survive without raising large amounts of funds. So I think would need to know more about your business to help you a little, to give you some more feedback. But broadly, from what you said, I'm very impressed by the GMV that you have. But margins and stuff, as you scale, can become a little more problem. We'll have to, I would love for Kaushik also to add here.
Yeah, I think very similar thoughts. B2B is very exciting today. Big B to small b especially is exciting. Vertical plays can be exciting. We are investors in a company called Business, which is in B2B e-commerce marketplace for footwear, apparel, fashion, accessories. But like she said, there are large players like Udaan, who's about horizontal, a bunch of players within manufacturing. So keen to read more if it fits for you, do reach out to us. And of course, right, build out how is tech helping you scale, how you're building network effects, what will help you maintain and increase your margins over time, and how do you build retention? Are you a supply first or a demand first marketplace? A lot of nuances. So happy to see more.
Sure. I'll send across the details, my pitch to both of you.
Perfect. Yeah. All the best.
Okay. Thank you, both of you.
Yeah. Pranav, are you ready? Pranav Rawal?
Yes, I am ready.
Go on.
Hi, good evening all. I am Pranav Rawal, co-founder of U40 Clothes. We also have other 3 co-founders. So I always believe that to build any enduring organization, we need a diverse expertise in terms of co-founders. So we have one more co-founder who is taking care of tech and product. Other co-founder is taking care of marketing and analytics, and 4th co-founder who takes care of AI and the system design. So here we try to solve the problem which millions of people face across the globe in metropolitan area. Basically, it is related to the food. So due to the very hectic and busy life, like working couple or a bachelor working in a different city, they don't get time to cook a breakfast and meal and all, and they want some solution. So me being foodie and my wife being chef, and we felt that there should be a product or a robot which can cook autonomously and deliver the solution to these people. So we have here a product which can really solve the problem for millions of people across the globe, and that is we call a Nosh cooking robot. I hope you can see my screen, right? Hello?
No, actually, we can't see your screen.
Okay. A minute. Can you see now?
We can see it now.
Okay. So this cooking Jenny can cook 100 of recipe for a breakfast and meal, and we just have to load ingredients in the product. Rest will be taken care by this product itself, and this product also comes with a Nosh mobile app. So everything basically starts with the mobile app where you can select the recipe you want to cook. And if you really want to buy the ingredient also, you can do meal plan here, and you can buy the ingredients through our grocery affiliation. And once you have grocery in hand, just load it in the ingredient tray and give the command to cook. Yeah. And then everything will be taken care by our product. So we have currently this product prototype ready with us. And we also started a demo and trials in Bangalore. And last week we had a live demo, and we got 4 pre-bookings, and we have 300 leads here for this product. And we strongly feel that this product is meant for global scale. I mean, so we plan to launch in India first and start with Bangalore as a test market. And then we would like to scale it up to US and Canada like a market in a time to come, as there is also an NRI population there. And being this particular product, which is a one-pot meal product, which can cook Indian as well as Asian and continental dishes as well for breakfast and meal. So we feel that this product can scale up globally. And we are at a stage where we have a prototype ready. We also have an IP for this product, and we would like to go for a commercial manufacturing. So at this stage, we are looking for a seed round, at stage of seed round, and looking for funds. Yeah.
No, thanks. Yeah, this is very interesting. I have to call you out that we like this space. So we've made an investment called Nimble. So do take a look at what Nimble does, NYMBAD. And if you think there isn't a conflict, then you should definitely reach out to us. Fast forward my email ID. Do take a look, but I wanted to call out that we have an investment called Nimble, but we like this space. I think you're on the right track, and obviously that's very, very useful. What I would also suggest is you should think of doing a US first launch, because the propensity to pay, the propensity to adopt tech for a lot of these things, and of course the ACVs that you would have in the US are probably far higher than what you might get in India, but definitely helps to sort of try it out in India before you do that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaushik, for your feedback. I mean, and you are so positive about the product and all. And we also feel that US is a very big market for us and a very good market. And definitely right now we are studying all the analytics and all, and we want to start launching in San Francisco and San Jose. This 2 market looks more lucrative compared to other cities. But first, we would like to try our hand in Bangalore, which is our hub and where our office is. So there we would like to test ourselves with, and we would like to be a company like a consumer-obsessed organization. That is our first and foremost value. So there we would like to build the trust and we like to gain the love from the consumer first by putting in Bangalore. And once we have certain 1,000 numbers in pre-booking and all and product tested from supply chain and service side, then we would like to expand our horizons to other countries. And with my background, I'll just brief you if you allow me for
Pranav, we need to get other people in, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pranav.
Thank you. All the best.
Oh, thank you so much.
We have Akash next. Akash, you're the co-host, please.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Pranav, share your details, okay, on LinkedIn, on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pranav, would love to hear a little more in detail. Sounds very interesting.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Akash, are you ready? Okay, if Akash is not ready, we will go with Santosh Kumar Panda. Yeah.
For those who don't know Santosh, he's been the man behind Explara.
I think it's somebody else. I'm not sure.
Somebody else? Are you sure? The name is exactly the same, isn't it? He's not showing on his face.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
It's someone else.
Oh my God. I thought it was our Santosh too.
Yeah, you were right. Hey, Santosh, mistaken identity, buddy, but go for it now, please.
Definitely. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I'm Santosh Kumar Panda, co-founder of Heights Technologies Private Limited. We are in a mission to create by choice farmers, right? Farmers by choice, actually. So, and we do that with the help of AR, VR, and MR technology. So our product available as a PaaS, platform as a service. Our platform is an ecosystem for students, farmers, agri-input companies, researchers, and all others who involve directly or indirectly in the agriculture. So if I will tell about the market, the ICT market, the information and communication technology market will be $160 billion in 2023. So I have told very little about our product. If I will tell more about our product is AR and VR enabled. It is helping to students, to farmers, to all agri-input companies to brand their products, to train on their farming. If, again, I will tell one user case, we have trained more than 60 school students to know what is farming. By using our technology, by using our platform, students can easily connect it with the farming. The psychology on farming is created. And we are also following one technique, the AR technique. By following this technique, the systematic methods of farming is developing. So if I will talk about the competitors, we are the first company in India who are developing products in AR and VR, focusing on agriculture. There are a lot of companies who all are in the tailored contents. They are into manufacturing and other things. But we are the first company in India who are completely focusing on agriculture. And about market validation, our product is validated by NRRI, National Rice Research Institute, and ICAR, Bhubaneswar. And in product stage, actually, our product is near about 70% ready to market, but somehow it will take more 3 to 4 months to build a complete product. And from you, actually, we need mentorship and guide. And about funding, yes, we have right now 8 team members in our team, but if we will get fund, so I think our product development will be speed, and the potential market is worldwide, not only India. We can serve the whole world also. So that's it from my side, actually.
Hey, Santosh. Firstly, we all know a Santosh Kumar Panda, so we didn't know there's another one. So great meeting you.
Right. He's in my LinkedIn also.
Okay, we actually invested in a company called Explara, and the founder is Santosh Kumar Panda, and he organized events, so he's tied with TIE and everything. So there's like a lot of common links there. Coming to your venture, right? Agri itself, agri-tech is a hot space. VCs are looking. It's a very interesting space because it's really solving problems for Bharat. And we have on our own portfolio a couple of agri companies. Jai Kisan is one of them. Given where you are at, Santosh, what I would say is you should get into like an Agri Udan, which is Hyderabad-based incubator accelerator specifically for agri. A lot of the VCs like us, we actually work with them. So Jai Kisan is from Agri Udan. They were referred by them. So what happens is you go there, you incubate, they'll help you with coming up with your MVP, and then you test the market, get a few products out, get feedback completely. When you're ready, then you can come to the VC. I think from a VC angle, it's a little early. But the space is exciting. If you're using AR, VR, I do hope, I'm sure you have somebody on your team who's an AR, VR expert. This can be game changing if you have the right team and you have the right mentorship. So I think you're right when you said you're looking for good mentorship. But a VC is not a good space to start when you're in that stage. It'll be good to either get some angels in the space and get into a good incubator accelerator. So that's where I would start if I were you. Thank you.
Thank you for your
good luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
Akash, you're next. Akash Murthy.
Yeah. Thank you, Santosh.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Just hope everyone's doing great. I'd just like to share my screen. You guys can see the screen?
Yeah, Akash, we can.
Okay. So Uprime is essentially an analytics company which is in the domain of healthcare. So this is our core team. Essentially, we are tech heavy, but I also have experience in banking, so we also know how to do the finance. The biggest scenario that exists right now is elderly people as a percentage of population is increasing everywhere, and elderly people need constant care, which is costly and inconvenient. The way we are trying to solve this or formulate this problem is we're trying to connect geriatric care with their out-migrant family members. So essentially, this is our bigger problem statement. The fact that 10% of Indian households receive money from some other city in India, and the fact that we have the highest remittance data from countries abroad, kind of lends to this problem. So essential solution is we have a non-contact health vitals measurement device. The device sits in the corner of the room and measures your respiratory rate, heart rate, sleep quality. So you don't have to wear anything on your body. So we're competing with all the other wearables, hoping that the lower adherence rate in the wearables can be solved. So that means adoption is sort of easier here. In all the wearables, the adoption is, the adherence is less than 20%. So we want to do a 4x version of that adherence, wherein people can adopt it very easily because they don't have to voluntarily take any decisions to use this technology. So we can get into a few other details as to what we're trying to do, market size, things of that nature. But I mean, happy to take questions.
Akash, look, thank you for this. I think this is very interesting, and the fact that you're focusing on increasing adoption is critical because, as you rightly said, wearables are interesting, but over a very short period of time, the adoption rates fall. I think this is interesting. I think here two things. One is what is the IP around the product, and what else can you come up with? Right, it can't be one product. So what is the range of areas that you can potentially think of in the future would be one that I would want to spend some time on. I think the second one really is GTM, because this is an interesting dichotomy where your paying customers might actually be sitting outside the country, but where you install is actually inside the country. So how do you build out your GTM? How do you get them to pay while the implementation happens here? And hence, potentially how much could this scale? Would all be curious questions that I would have. Yeah. I think based on what I've seen so far, those would be my sort of 2 cents.
Yeah, so we've got there's no particular answer for that because like you're looking forward to what we're trying to build. But we've gotten a few grants from the state and the central government. And on top of it, we all are also collaborating with an IIT campus wherein most of the R&D is subsidized there. And we only do software outreach in Bangalore. That's where we are.
Great.
And we have very strong team.
All the best. Look forward.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Akash.
We have Palas Jyoti next. Palas Jyoti, you're the co-host, you could share.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, please.
Hi all, this is Palas, founder OneTracker. It's a product which is solving the last mile delivery technology problem for businesses like retail, restaurant chains, or any local delivery service businesses like Danjos. So our aim is to provide the technology that Danjo uses to all across the globe for businesses who are going to deliver goods to the customers. So it so happened during the COVID time when we were doing other work, we decided to build this product. So we started building this product in May 2020, almost a year back. And our focus was to build this product for only enterprises. So this is an enterprise-grade SaaS product, completely built cloud native on AWS platform. So so far, from September onwards, we started Get It Fast became our first client. They're based in Melbourne, Australia, and they're doing service for one of the big retailer called Kmart. And in the last 2 months, we onboarded 3 more customers onto our platform. Right now, we are doing around 2,000 to 5,000 deliveries per month, but we are hoping it to increase because customers are getting onboarded and they're getting to know and scaling the product across all their hubs. The team comprises of me, founder, CEO. I worked for Deloitte Consulting before I started a company called Anvaya. Now completely we're doing OneTracker. Then Director Strategy, Sabi Bhattacharya, he's based in Melbourne. He was head of online business Kmart. And our sales guy is Mukesh Babu, who primarily was doing enterprise sales during his time. So during this very short time with OneTracker, what we realized that enterprise client is our primary focus. But OneTracker, in terms of competition, when we compared, we realized that we have almost 90% features plus our own USP, which is it's one of the most customizable solutions in B2B space. We decided to open it up. So right now what we are doing, we are kind of taking it to complete automatic onboarded SaaS platform module. So we are working on that. At the same time, we are working on improving our sales. So we are looking for initial funding. So far we spent our own money, bootstrap. So we're looking for initial funding because we are losing money in supporting customers in terms of technology, and at the same, because they're enterprise customer. At the same time, we want to improve sales by investing heavily on the digital sales platform, because this product we believe can go global and compete with the best in out there. That's a quick introduction about OneTracker. Happy to answer any question.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Palas. Firstly, congratulations. I think this is great progress you made. FarEye is one of Indian Angel Network investments. So I think the space is very, very exciting if you can solve for enterprise and they see value. The fact that you have managed to build from May, bootstrap, and have an MVP, sign up clients, that's a great sign. I think next steps for you would be to raise a small round of micro VC funds or angel funds, specifically where somebody can open doors for you. Since you're going after enterprise, it'll always be nice to ensure that whoever you're taking money from, it's color of the money matters, right? It's not just whom you raise money from, but what other value add they can provide for you. Like Bloom, we had the platform team, which we're very, very proud of. We're the pioneers in platform. So similarly, if you know that there is somebody who can specifically help you with enterprise connects, then that should be your go-to partner or angel or micro VC, whatever. But at first glance, definitely looks exciting. I've seen the growth of FarEye. And there is huge scope. I'm sure the market is large enough for multiple players. So this is the best time for solutions being built out of India for the global market. So good luck.
Yeah, thanks for your feedback. We want to become Shopify for delivery management system, and one of the competitor, the first one, OnFleet, they recently raised a big round. We are looking to compete with them because in terms of features, we can already. What we need to do is we need to connect the dots and ramp up our sales. For that, a good partnership in terms of funding as well as right VC or angel would really help. Thanks for the feedback.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to try our best. Ravi has a hard stop at 5:25, and Sarita, we have been actually going slightly above. We'll try our best, guys. Keep it as crisp as possible because you all can continue with the next meeting. Vinay, next one, please.
Sure. Yeah, Sudeep, you already the co-host, please. Sudeep Saxena.
Hey, this is Sudeep. Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. Just give me a moment.
Thanks, Sudeep.
Hi, we are eGyanam team, and we work in making cyber response fast, smart, and affordable. My name is Sudeep Saxena. I recently joined full-time eGyanam team. I have about 30 years of industry experience launching IBM security services team in India. My last role was the global head for Wipro. My co-founder is Rashmi from Acceleri. She has about 25 years of experience, and we've got Mrityunjay, who has about experience from IIT Varanasi. The problem which we are trying to solve, and since we come from this industry, we understand the problems, the practical issues which are being faced. Despite all the investments, cyber defense today is slow and less effective. And we are trying to build solutions using automation, big analytics, and AI technologies. The market we are serving is large. For our products, it's going to be around 50 billion. And we started 3 years back. We used consulting and our domain expertise to take orders from the industry, from the likes of IBM, PwC, and all to fund our product development. We were lucky to sell a product through Wipro in 2018. State Bank of India, the largest bank in India, has issued an RFP to us. We are close to our final product launches now in next 3 to 6 months' time. So we are looking to expand our teams to grow. That's why we are looking for investments. Thank you.
Nee, thanks. Yeah, I think this is very interesting. And of course, cyber security is and continues to be an emerging theme. I think there are 2-3 key things in this that you need to think about. I think one is definitely look out and reach out for investors who have some sort of a theme on cybersecurity, because I can tell you that a lot of investors don't, partly because it is not that straightforward and easy to sort of comprehend and get your arms around, partly because the competition from Israeli and American companies is very, very intense. And hence, it just becomes very hard sitting here to differentiate our product compared to our big third. And third is partly because what happens is the ACVs in India are low, while selling in the US means you're effectively competing with the big boys of the world, right? So definitely very interesting traction. You guys have a good client list. Just find investors who have a thesis on this and hence who become an automatic fit to the kind of capital and the partner that you want. And not just anybody. So be very, very certain who you want to reach out.
Okay.
All the best, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have Naresh and Nishant, 2 more. Naresh?
Maybe Vijeta, we can just pause for a second. What I would request is for all of those, I know we all have a hard stop, but maybe Vinay can help create a list where people can sign up if they were on this session today, put in their LinkedIn, their profile and thing. At least Ravi and I can get the list. We'll get it evaluated by our teams and we'll come back. Whoever we want to reach out to, at least we can reach out to.
Sure, Sarita.
We'll do that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. We have a hard stop. We have 4 minutes left. So anyone, one more person, please.
Yeah. Naresh and Nishant, could you just have a minute pitch? Yeah, Naresh, if you're not there, we'll ask Nishant to get started. Yeah, Nishant, would you like to?
Yeah, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. visible, right?
Yes, please.
So my name is Nishant. I manage this health informatics company. We are more of an EMR integration platform kind of a solution. And so the challenges, normally we have these e-health challenges. Whenever any country wants to implement e-health solutions, there are this kind of challenges which we have solved using our solution and platform. And we have come up with our own unified medical record solution, which is very simple to use and uses all the latest technologies available. We already have a set of good clients, starting with small clinics to the ministries of health in Middle East market. This is one of the testimonials which we received from the Ministry of Health, stating our solution works perfectly for them for a primary healthcare solution. We competed with the world's best and the world #1 kind of companies called Cerner in this space. And our edge was integrations, new technology, ability to customize the solution and the user interface. This is about the founding team, two of us. I bring in the business acumen into the company with 12 years of experience working with varied companies. And my co-founder comes in with a lot of tech background, working with the same number of companies together. So our concept is actually to build a complete e-health solution, starting with self-triage, video consultations, primary care, secondary care, and all aided by AI and artificial intelligence. So ultimately, we say that we are aiding the doctor to make the solutions much more easier for him so that he can do his practice much well. So that is the whole idea. It's not a B2B or a B2C, it's more H2H, because in healthcare, the patient-doctor relationship is very critical. So that's where we focused on. We are completely bootstrapped, and we have built this whole product on Microsoft Stack. I'm happy to take any questions if you have.
Hey, Nishant, yeah, I think this is exciting in the healthcare space, and your combination of co-founders, two of you, one bringing business and one bringing tech talent, I think works well. I'm not sure about the USP here because this is a relatively crowded space, the consultation, doctor consultation and stuff, but would like to know a little more. And I do hope your differentiator is tech. Second is, what is your target market, right? You said Middle East. If it's Middle East, then you're clearly looking at a global solution. We've seen a lot of solutions targeting Bharat, so I'm not sure. If you're targeting the global market, then you definitely need to look at the global competition. I think you said you do see some differentiation, but will be interesting to learn a little more before I can give some feedback. Open to Ravi if he has any thoughts on this.
Thank you.
Sorry, nothing further from my side. I think I echo her thoughts.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. It's 5:25, Sarita and Ravi. We have kept you here with us for more than 1 hour, 25 minutes. But I think it was very interesting, and I think we didn't realize how powerful magnets you both are. Okay, the moment you started posting it, a lot more people came in. So one is we must thank the audience. Okay, they have been such wonderful people, very cooperative, and look, we want you guys to get more time, and every single one of you to pitch. But sometimes the paucity of time, paucity of resources, etc., does come in our way. But Sarita and Ravi would love to work with you guys on this. I think we will make sure, as you all have suggested, that we get all the people who have pitched. We'll get their details. Guys, please write into Vinay and me and Shivi over so that we collect all the pitch decks. We have your LinkedIn profiles, your email IDs, and maybe whatever else that we need, so that we can give these details to Ravi and Sarita, and their teams can also go through it. What do you guys feel? That's the best way to do this?
Yeah, I think that would be perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Ravi, I know that you have a hard stop and we are 1 minute beyond your hard stop. So, and Sarita, if you also need to leave, then absolutely no problem. Okay. But
thanks, Vijeta. I think we missed the live sessions. This was a lot of fun. But I think this brings in that same momentum where people quick pitch and it works. So would love to engage more with Ty, and I'm happy to, we'll definitely evaluate all the
Definitely. Thank you so much. And I think, very quickly that Vinay, don't close the session yet because we need to figure out other stuff. We are also having this IoT day on 10th of April. Okay.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to take off. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
Ravi,
Thanks,
you leave. We will keep in touch with you. Thank you. Thank you, Ravi. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So Sarita, we also have this IoT day coming up, and we'll be having, but that is focused on 5G, telecom, hardware, and health tech and everything. We'll send you the details. We're also planning to have a simple session around these kind of things, right? Helping them to connect with enterprises and startups. We'll be doing more startup showcases and other activities also. We'll talk to you, Sarita. We'll take your help and input also, because we want to do it better.
Sure. I'll talk to you offline. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining in, and happy to engage. By the way, for women on this forum, we do, as Bloom, have an initiative specifically for women founders. It's more like a mentorship program called the Lead Tribe. My colleague Radhika runs it. More than welcome. If you're interested, you could apply for that. It's a cohort-based learning session, but great value add. So welcome to join. Thank you. Thanks, Vijeta. Thanks, Vinay.
Thank you, Sarita. Take care of yourself. Appreciate your time so much. Okay.
Bye. Anytime.
Yeah, bye. Okay. So Shivi and Vinay, we have the people here. We'll just take a quick thing that what do we do now? Do we need to send a form to them or something so that they can all fill it up? What do you suggest we should do?
So we will send an email to them, no? Where they can fill up certain details of form.
So we will have all the emails, whoever have joined today.
Yeah, we'll so whoever has joined today, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. We'll send a mail to all of the joinees, and then they can fill in the necessary details so that we can forward the pitch decks to the Sarita and Ravi.
All right, great. And I think there are a lot of other investors also asking. And for any of